What is up, everybody?
Until showtime.
No. For a long night of drinking, I think I'm still feeling it.
What?
I almost kicked on the stairs, and I was like, oh, I'm a little tipsy. So obviously, I was not drinking.
Obviously, you do.
I actually wasn't listening.
I know. Why would I joke about that?
0 people.
Oh, it's okay.
Sad thing is, I assumed there would be 0 people.
3 minutes.
Maybe if you contributed something to this podcast, then.
You're gonna laugh?
I didn't hear what was happening. I was laughing. This guy said,
You didn't think that was funny.
I didn't hear what he said.
I was like, oh yeah, I only expected there to be like 0 listeners. And Jack's like, well, if you actually contribute anything to this podcast.
Wow.
And they looked over at you and you went,
I was laughing for that.
oh, this was the reel that came with the raw. Oh, yeah. It looks like a really fun like a kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, bam.
Wow, this guy ranked the top 5 first round QB busts in NFL draft history.
Renly.
Jamarcus Russell's 1. Robert Griffin III was 2.
What?
Vince Young was 3.
What?
Josh Rosen was 4.
Until
And
showtime.
Mark Sanchez was 5.
Did Mark Sanchez win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Buffalo.
Did he make it to the Super Bowl?
No. I don't think so.
Who am I
They made it to the playoffs, though. Multiple times.
Who was the Jets quarterback when didn't they go to a Super Bowl in the last decade?
Huh?
Didn't the Jets go to a Super Bowl in the last
Did the
decade?
Jets go to the Super Bowl? I don't think so.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Eagles. I definitely remember seeing, because Mark Sanchez was on the Jets, right?
Yeah.
I definitely remember seeing like cardboard cuts in all the grocery stores.
They were good.
Of
for
Mark
the-
Sanchez?
Yeah, they were
He
good.
went to
for the-
USC too, so he was like the golden boy for a while.
Last time they were in the playoffs was 2010. They made it to the conference championship.
So it was almost
Lost
exactly
to the Steelers.
Oh, prop bets, rumors,
Minutes until
Matthew
showtime.
said, "You'll make these today."
draft day, baby. Draft day.
Spin cash reel. Berkeley, number 310.
Steelers are closing in on a 1-year extension with Mason Rudolph.
We gotta keep our eye on that. It sounds interesting.
They're not gonna take quarterback now.
Yep, Dwayne Haskins, Cal Rudolph, and Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of QB room.
Kyle Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph.
It's amazing.
Let's reel
Oh
back
my
in.
gosh.
If we get off track, I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna say, all right, let's reel it back in now.
Thanks, Eli.
That's what I contribute to the podcast. Comedic relief.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
This is a Open Talk Radio 313 Flash production.
day is here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Game Chat Podcast. April 29th, 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 12 Pacific. We are here. It is draft day. Boys, I don't know if I've been this excited for a draft in a long time. I'm so glad it's finally here.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, a month ago, Niners trade up to 3. It has just been endless Twitter feed and rumors coming out day in, day out, and we're finally here.
We're finally here.
Thank goodness we're finally here.
Finally here.
This has been my most anticipated NFL draft I've ever watched. That's the second one.
Oh, it's the second one. Yeah, that's right. All right, so we got some prop bets we're going to go over today. I've been on FanDuel for most of these prop bets just because I feel like we should just use one. And, yeah, just listen to a podcast and they mentioned FanDuel. So I was like, all right, we're using FanDuel. Man, there has been so many rumors in the past, 24 hours?
Yeah.
I mean, this is why the NFL draft's the best. This is why they're king. Is because it's not just, I mean, there's not any other sport that comes close to having a draft this big, but then just they've taken over this entire week. And this is all we have to talk about. And it's awesome. I love it. So yesterday, I'm just going to dive into all these rumors. Yesterday, Pats Panthers rumored to have a groundwork done for a trade for the number 8 pick. I think the way I interpreted that is that if the board falls the way the Patriots want, they are going to go up to 8 and grab a quarterback.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you guys think?
So if, say, let's throw a name out. Say Justin Fields is their guy.
Yeah.
He drops to a number where they to 8, then Patriots pretty much know what the Panthers want for that pick. So, yeah, that's kind of what I understood it as well. So it's in place in case the Patriots want it.
Right. And so they're not going to make it now. Because I still think there's a belief that the Niners could take Fields or the Panthers could take Fields. Yeah. Or sorry, not the Panthers, the Falcons.
Yes.
So they're not going to make that trade. But the way I have it interpreted is like they have like the button ready. Like Bill Belichick, they have like the full details all ready. They have called the Panthers and they're like, if Fields gets 8, we are going to trade up with you. And I think there's also another camp. That's what I love about this also, is that there's this camp. Like, people believe different things, and it's just like, it's like a choose your own adventure. That's what this draft is. And so there's some people that think the Panthers could take a quarterback, especially Fields if he's there. Like, why would they trade back with the Patriots? They kind of need a quarterback. They just traded Teddy Bridgewater yesterday. Do you think that's possible that they take a quarterback, the Panthers?
Who's their backup right now?
No one. They just traded Bridgewater. They have Darnold.
That's the problem, is the Darnold thing.
And they haven't extended Darnold. Haven't given his 5th-year option.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, for Sam Darnold's sake, I hope they don't draft one. I really do. I want someone to give Sam a chance, but you're right. They have no backup right now. So, but for their team, I think that if Slater or Penny Sewell is there at 8, I think that it would be dumb of them not to solidify the left side of that offensive line and actually give Sam a chance.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I just thought it was interesting this seems to be where 8 seems to be where the quarterback, there's going to be a gap, 4, 5, 6, 7 seems to be kind of position players. 8, 9 is where we're going to get the quarterbacks to go. Man, okay, another rumor, big one today. Saints are rumored to be wanting to trade up or trying to trade up into the top 10. We had a big discussion about this in the living room today. In the kitchen, actually. Was it the kitchen? Kitchen. Talking about this in the kitchen earlier today. It's not for quarterback.
Unless one guy drops.
That was one, yeah. Who is that one guy? Is the one guy Trevor Lawrence?
I don't know.
Is that really like?
They just threw a little hint there.
They're like, if they're like, Trevor Lawrence drops, we could be the team that trades up and grabs it. Like, yeah, right, yeah, that's gonna happen.
They're looking for the next Drew Brees. If Mac Jones drops, we want it.
Oh, man. So okay, yeah, you're right. I did see that. So there's one quarterback that they're looking for. Who?
What could they possibly need?
So the name that jumped out to me right away is J.C. Horn. because he is the son of legendary Saints receiver Joe Horn.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that kind of makes sense, no?
Makes a lot of
It
sense.
does, and I heard Daniel Jeremiah say that when it comes to the Patriots, he does not think that both corners will be available at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that would co-align with this report that the Saints are trying to get into the top 10 to get one of these corners.
I heard
It-
these
it is
corners have like been trending way up the past week or so. That a lot of these teams think both Horn and Surtain. I think with also the fall of Farley being like so medical,
Mhm.
they think like Horn and Surtain are going to be starters day one, like real contributors at corner, and that's really valuable. That's definitely worth a top 10 pick.
I've heard Surtain is being described as too perfect right now. Like
Really?
he's just polished. He's the typical corner you would want, but JC Horn has a higher ceiling because of the size and,
Yeah.
and what things he brings to the table. So yeah, I know if I had to put a bet in right now, I would not bet over one defensive player in the top 10. But this is really interesting to hear these people talk about both of these corners going early.
Daniel Jeremiah, that interview with Colin Coward today was very interesting. He said a couple things that I was like, wait, did he just say that? And that was one of them that he was like, I don't think the Cowboys are going to have a choice of which corner they want. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? Like,
Because you always thought no, there's no
they were going to be the
corners
first
going
defense.
past
Yeah,
that.
for sure. So, yeah, I honestly think it's not a bad idea for the Saints to trade up if they can get rid of some of their cap. I think that was what kind of us three decided on, that they don't really have picks to give to get,
Who's
guy, but-
someone? You looked at the cap. I don't know if you still have it up. Sorry,
I don't
put you
have
on the
it,
spot
but
here.
what?
But like, who's some guys that we could see them trading that would help them greatly with their cap situation right now? I'm trying to think of who.
Yeah, I mean, Lattimore, I think, was the name that you mentioned.
Yeah, if they do want to go corner, I mean, that's an easy replacement just right
Yeah.
there. But we talked about the two tackles; they're paying a lot of money. But I don't know who could they involve in a trade that they'd be really willing to get rid of right now. I just don't know. So, but I mean, it's interesting because Saints were not a team that I ever thought of going to be willing to give up capital. But I mean, if they could get rid of some of these contracts, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of what they need to be.
But it's kind of the same situation that Atlanta's doing with Julio. I mean, they're just shopping him because they know that his contract is just
Yeah.
not in their cards for
Yeah.
the future. So
Do you think Julio's on a different team by the weekend?
by the weekend, it was tough, man. It's tough.
That could be something that we could see.
What's the teams that could take on that cap hit right now? And that's
Yeah,
that's
true.
the problem. So
Yeah,
The only team that could take on those cap hits would be like Jaguars,
yeah,
maybe the Jets. I can't remember. The Jets aren't in a great spot, but they're in a better spot than most teams as far as money goes.
I've seen a lot of people with Niners fans like go get Julio and get rid of Jimmy, but I just don't think it's feasible. I really
No, I
don't.
don't
Not
either.
with the 20-something mil cap hit for a wide receiver. It's just not it.
Especially with a team that's usually like run first.
No, exactly. But like Kyle, go get your guy. Like that's not Kyle's game plan. Like
Right.
That's
not
it
his
is,
guy.
it is not feasible right now, and I don't think we want that for the future.
No. So another one. Apparently, the Eagles are looking to get back into the top 10 to grab a corner. A corner.
Makes no sense.
So that's what I'm saying is these corners are like skyrocketing up draft boards of just teams. I think it's because Farley is falling that they're like there's two corners in this draft that are elite, and
Went from 3-2, and now everyone's like panicking. They're like, wait,
yeah,
we might want a corner.
yeah. So that's something to look out for. The Eagles going back into the top 10.
I think corner is a position. I mean, I know that like if you watch football, you know how important corners are.
Right.
But I mean, even with Greg Newsome, I feel like he's been going higher and higher in these mock drafts that I've been seeing too. And that might be a product of Farley having the back surgery and going down. But corner is just such an important position, especially if you could get a great one out of rookie contract for 5 years. I mean, it's such a bonus to have on a team.
I think Farley's going to go like in the 25 to 32 range, where one of these teams that doesn't really need this first round pick is going to take him and just be like, you know what? If he pans out,
That's
awesome. If he doesn't, the guy that we're going to take instead of him probably is not going to pan out either. So
a lot of people had him at 2 or 1 on the cornerback tier.
Oh,
list for
100%,
quarterback surgery.
100%.
So yeah, he is definitely a boomer bust.
100%. What else I have? Giants are apparently locked in on taking an Alabama receiver. Smith or Waddle, whoever falls to them, is going to the Giants. Makes zero sense. I've been mocking it. Every mock that I've done, I've had them taking it because that's what everyone's saying. It's like, that's who Delvin wants as a Alabama receiver. Makes no sense because they just signed Galladay. I saw somebody said something interesting on a podcast. I think it was the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. It was like, why weren't they in more of the quarterback market? Like, they're just like giving Daniel Jones all these weapons, but who decided Daniel Jones was just their guy all of a sudden? Like,
Yeah.
they're at 11 too. The Niners are up at 3, and they were at 12. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
funny
they
to me
could've
that
moved, yeah.
all of a sudden it was like the Giants were like, no, we're all in on getting playmakers. We don't need we got the quarterback thing figured out.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to do the same thing that Miami's doing. Pretty much, we're going to give you all the weapons you can. If you can't do it, then
Right.
maybe we need to move on. But
Right.
I mean, if it's Devonta Smith and Galladay, I mean, man, and Saquon coming back,
Evan Ingram
hopefully healthy and
too.
everything.
Shep
You got
or
what?
Slayton.
Yeah, you got
Yeah. I
Slayton.
mean, seriously,
You
they're
got weapons left and right. Get it done.
And you're in I mean, it's their division is really competitive, but there's not like a dominant team there. Like, that's anyone's division
Yeah.
pretty much. And if you don't, I feel like if they don't win the division, or at least aren't, if they're not contesters for winning the division, you have to really consider, going somewhere else besides Daniel Jones.
For
It's
sure.
got to be Daniel Jones if your team doesn't do that.
They were in it last year too, weren't they? Like towards the end.
Yeah.
I think they were still involved in almost making the playoffs too. So
But they were like a 2-point conversion away from beating the Buccaneers or something, right?
yeah, they don't beat the Bucs yet. So yeah, I mean, Joe Judge obviously doing a great job with his team, and you're right. I mean, one question mark right now is Daniel Jones. So
definitely. All right, call in if you guys want to talk about draft. It's 646-668-8672 is the number to call. One more time, it's 646-668-8672. All right. Last little rumor. Keep scrolling on Twitter. I've been like, are you doing it too? I'm like, I keep refreshing just to see. Oh my God, someone PFT. Jags signed Tebow, trade him for Aaron Rodgers. Kyle Pitts first overall. Like a picture of draft day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what's all that Tebow stuff swirling around?
Oh yeah. So
How
apparently,
legit is that? I just saw a tweet and they said, "Oh, he never made the switch to tight end, but now he's." I was like, "Wait, what?"
No, it's legit. It happened. He worked out. I mean, he was quarterback at Florida, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Urban Meyer was the coach, so they have a connection there. And he was people were trying to tell him to become a tight end because they felt like he could have a longer career, which he's finally listening. And he's been playing minor league baseball for the last 3 or 4 years? Would you say?
at least yeah.
Like, the dude's
He
all over
hasn't
the
played
place.
in the NFL since 2012.
No, and he's 33 years old.
yeah.
So he's gonna come and be a tight end, I guess. I don't know, but he worked out for them. Did they sign him? Did you see that for sure? I don't know if they signed him or
No,
not.
I
know they
haven't
worked
seen
out
any
for him.
signings. I just
Yeah.
saw that his name was becoming relevant.
No,
I
he
just
worked
saw
out for them.
I saw 3 tweets in a row about Tim Tebow. I was like,
It's amazing.
Someone goes, unnamed Jags media member goes, quote, only this franchise would do something to overshadow having the, in all caps, top overall pick. It's so not at all what we're talking. No one's talking about Trevor Lawrence today. It is all about Tim Tebow now.
And he's a generational talent that they're going to get today in the first pick. Yeah, and nobody's talking. Now we're talking about Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Okay, the other little rumor that was in the news was Jimmy Garoppolo is now linked to the Patriots. What was that tweet that you sent? Because I need to find that again.
The first one was probably last night around 7 our time. Patriots were working on the groundwork of restructuring Jimmy G's contract so they could trade for him. That has been shot down, and some people have supported it. It's been shot down a lot too. There's just so much stuff flying around, and I truly do believe if Jimmy's going to go anywhere, it probably is the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I think that's just going to be. I think that's going to be just the result of how the draft goes tonight. I think that if the Patriots guy does not fall, like you said about the groundwork with the Panthers, their guy doesn't fall, then I bet you they probably do trade for Jimmy at some point, in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
But if they get their guy, then obviously they're not looking at Jimmy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then apparently today, yesterday, I guess, reported today, the 49ers offered the number 3 overall pick and Jimmy G for Aaron Rodgers. And multiple teams apparently have called about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And there is, quote, 0 chance they're trading Aaron Rodgers. Don't blame them. Also, it's just that was a little weird. That's the classic Madden trade, just throwing every single best asset you have to try to get someone that's really good. What the Niners are doing, they're like, you can have Jimmy G and the 3rd overall pick. It's like, oh yeah, so we want to give you the MVP in exchange for a mediocre quarterback, the 3rd overall pick. And by the way, we have a quarterback that we drafted in the 1st round last year that played, like hadn't played.
Sitting here.
So I was like, oh no shit, they declined the trade.
Reports low interest.
Right, exactly. It's like, yeah, oh, shocker. I don't know.
This is a result of all the drama coming out of Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers going to go be the Jeopardy host and be done with football. And
Yeah,
all the drama between the owner and Aaron Rodgers. Like,
right.
it's all just, I mean, it's like high school drama over there in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, obviously teams are going to call him when seeing all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going anywhere until that contract's up.
I agree.
They also said that they checked in on Deshaun Watson, which who knows what that situation is. Haven't heard that about
That's
that in a
so
while.
weird that just is like, that was one of the top stories going. That was the top story going into
Yeah.
offseason. And now it's like, can't talk about it. And it's been that way for a month. You can't mention that guy's name.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I say. It's just crazy. I mean, could you imagine a trade one for Deshaun Watson right now? Like, man.
And it's just so funny that they should have the 3rd overall pick.
Okay.
And now it's
that would be funny
the
if all we put out like
49ers.
that.
It's just crazy. All right. We're on FanDuel for these props. FanDuel, if you need a sponsor, I know you guys sponsor the Bill Simmons podcast that gets 50 million downloads, but we get 50. So, yep.
We'll take 1/1,000,000th of whatever.
Diverse your portfolio.
Exactly. Trevor Lawrence for the number 1 overall pick is minus 50,000. So just so people who don't know how odds work, you have to bet $50,000 to win 100 for Trevor Lawrence.
Worth it.
So
I put
you,
$5 million down just to win 100 or whatever it is.
that's what some people are like. If it's that much of a favorite, like why not just
Put your
bet?
house on
Yeah.
it.
Why not put everything on it?
Problem is if it's not, then
Then
That's
it's
real
just
awkward.
interesting.
everything.
But it's real awkward. But
Yeah.
I mean, man, it would be the biggest shock if it isn't.
What about the number 2 overall pick? How much of a shock would that be if it wasn't Zach Wilson?
Dude, this one's weighing on me. It really is. I don't know.
Was it you? It was you or Jack this morning. We were in the kitchen talking.
I think
about
I
it.
said it. Yeah.
And I was just like, kind of near the end of the college season, it was like everyone was thinking Trevor Lawrence and then Justin Fields, and then like between the end of the season and then like pro days, somehow Zach Wilson became this like number 2 favorite, number 2 favorite, and then there was like pro days and stuff, and then like now he's like an undisputed 2nd pick, like just I think Zach Wilson, and then like I don't know, it just seems really weird. Like yeah, it'll probably go to the Jets, but what if it was all just
No, that's what I was talking to my dad about this morning, and it's like, yeah, we haven't heard anything about it recently. I mean, we haven't. It's been like a foregone conclusion that he's going to, but we haven't heard anything about it. And like, what if we're all just sitting there too, like, okay, let's get past this pick, and then it's like, Jets take Justin Fields, and
Oh
we're all
my
just
God.
like,
yeah, like that's the
So
that'd be the
that-
best way to go
that-
under the radar is
What-
to make everyone think like, oh, we're for sure going with this guy. Like, all right, well, we pencil in Zach Wilson for the
And
Jets.
then it's like, okay, think about the Niners. What if they've been thinking it's been Wilson the whole time, and now they get there and they're like, we didn't like you. I think we had this conversation right after the trade happened. Of like you have to scout Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. But what if they didn't? I mean, because I wouldn't blame them if they did. I wouldn't blame them if they focused more of their time on Lance and Jones. And like as draft day comes, they were like, all right, they walked in. They're like, we're taking Trey Lance. It's locked. Like we're taking Lance. All right, guys, good job. High fives all around. And then Fields goes 2.
I think they go Lance though.
That's what I'm saying. So then Wilson starts. That's why it'd be crazy.
No, it
is
would be
because
crazy.
because everyone had Wilson going 2 for so long doesn't mean that he just automatically the Niners go, oh, yep, he was our number 2 on the board. Like, I don't know. That's just should Schefter drop something? Reigning MVP. Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
Wait. Reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers that he has told some within the organization that he does not want to return to the team. Oh my gosh, we have a Shefty bomb.
There's more on NFL Live now.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, there's so much drama there. It's like high school. It really is. It really is.
Theo,
No wonder
Theo
why
in the
teams are
chat.
calling in.
Theo's in the chat said, don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks. They have a bad track record recently. That is another weird thing that I've been really. Are you just turning it? Yeah. I have been guilty of this, of saying that Alabama quarterbacks have a bad track record, but I'm really high on Fields, but Ohio State quarterbacks have a really bad track record too. So that's something that I think I'm not good about.
No,
Is that
100%.
I've been a little bit like, oh yeah.
I don't like this perception of like, yeah, Ohio State quarterbacks suck. Like, I mean, if you're gonna put Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields side by side, I think those are different already. Difference already between the two. I think Justin Fields is a much better player. And you're totally right. Like everybody's like Ohio State quarterbacks suck. Well, yeah. What about Alabama quarterbacks that have
Right.
been so much better that you're like, well, they throw them aside. You know, like, yeah, I don't know. Hearing the media guys, like they're usually pretty straightforward about it. Like you cannot judge the guy by where he went. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's there, but I think it's hard to. I don't know. But I also don't think that the criticism of Justin Fields is most of it has come because he's from Ohio State, which some of it probably has, but not most of it. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough judging where a guy came from, especially when those guys maybe came from a different coach and stuff like that. But
I think it's crazy that like
System quarterbacks, he says. It's honestly not horrible. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's not fair for me to say Alabama quarterbacks are in that system, but then Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Justin Fields and Mac Jones are going to be very interesting to see what they do to try to prove against that. You can turn it up. Who cares?
And the Los Angeles Rams called in January before they traded for Matthew Stafford to see if they would trade.
Imagine if the Rams,
called him, right?
Rodgers went to the Rams.
Basically, general manager Brian Gutekunst issued this statement. As we stated since the season ended,
Top people in the organization have tried to convince him to stay. It's a standoff.
Aaron has been a vital part of our success, and we look forward to competing for another championship with him leading our team. But the fact of the matter is, there are other members of the organization that don't know if and when Aaron Rodgers will show back up in Green Bay. He's going through the line.
Oh my gosh! Imagine if he just.
Hosted Jeopardy during the offseason.
Oh, what a day, dude! This isn't
What if he
even.
retired?
Then we'll really get to see. We will really get to see if they believed in Jordan Love.
His draft pick looks brilliant now.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is insane.
They didn't tell him in advance that they were drafting a quarterback. And obviously, we've seen a lot of cryptic comments from Aaron Rodgers.
There's no way he just retires, right?
Man, what if he goes?
Look at Dan.
I hate that I lost him, but look at him, dude. Everybody's just bewildered right now.
The best part about this is that no one had this in mind. Like
No.
everyone's and all the analysts, all the TV stations are focused on the draft, and now this bomb just goes off, and everyone's like, "What?"
This might add to the draft and has nothing to do with it.
No, exactly. Oh my gosh.
I wonder if Aaron Rodgers is just feeling jealous of all the attention that everyone else is getting with him.
Well, I mean, last offseason reports were when they drafted Jordan Love that he was pissed off because he had no idea. And it's like, he's a franchise quarterback, and here you go, and instead of the first round, you don't take a second wide receiver for him, you take a quarterback that you plan on getting rid of Aaron. I don't know. Like,
Which is funny because isn't that how they got Aaron Rodgers and said bye to Brett Favre?
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, he's like, I've seen this story before. Like,
Yeah.
I've read this book.
Their GM is like, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
he's trying to convince himself.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, at what point do you give up on that? Yeah. I would not want to be in his shoes, man. All right. Jeez.
Man, now I want to know what they turned down.
What did the Rams get off of them?
That's true. What? Yeah, man.
Patrick Mahomes. Well, I see draft weekend is going to be pretty interesting. Oh my gosh.
Patty sitting over there with his $50 million smile.
I know. He's sitting on a pile.
New baby girl. What dude? What a guy.
No, Theo's got a point. Ohio State quarterbacks have not been.
What college did Aaron Rodgers go to?
Cal.
Cal. Okay, that's coming at that. Why is it that like I think it's when people talk about Alabama quarterback like something like that, it's like are like the best quarterbacks in the league right now. None of them came from like the two schools.
You want to know where they've been?
Like,
Top five.
Brady went to like Michigan, right?
But that was so long ago, you can throw that one out.
Yeah.
I'm just Rodgers, Cal. Mahomes, Texas Tech. Josh Allen, Wyoming. Russell Wilson, NC State and Wisconsin. Lamar, Louisville. Dak, Mississippi State. Like, it's crazy that it's like none Ohio State, Alabama. Deshaun Watson, Clemson.
I knew Deshaun was Clemson. So, but it's crazy.
Apparently, the Packers have offered to extend Aaron Rodgers, but he hasn't.
I don't think he'll take it. I think he wants out.
That's crazy.
I think it was Brandon. I was talking about this, but one thing I think is interesting about I know Mac Jones and Justin Fields are very different players, but no one ever talks about. I can't remember his first name. It's like Chris something Olave, the
Yeah.
right
Chris
receiver.
Olave,
No one ever talks about him, but he's in the draft.
he's in next year's draft.
Oh, he's in next year's draft? Oh, okay. I thought he was in this draft.
No.
Okay, well then never mind. Then that was sort of my point. But like Mac Jones has two receivers that might go top 10, and then I don't know why I really thought Olave was in this draft.
This is wild.
But to your point, he doesn't have any top talent like
No, and,
like
and
what Mac
he's
Jones
plummeted.
had.
And everyone's like,
Yeah.
he might drop. It's like why?
Okay, back to what Brandon was saying this right before we got on. The props for number 3 overall pick, the betting favorite for the number 3 overall pick is now Trey Lance. Trey Lance is minus 200, Mac Jones plus 160. So those two are neck and neck, but Trey Lance is now the favorite to go number 3 overall.
All three have been favored at some point.
That's crazy. If I had to bet, I would bet Justin Fields plus 850.
100%. If you're putting money down, it's Justin. 100%.
$100 to win 850
Yeah.
for Justin Fields.
That should 100% be your bet. If you're betting.
What do you log it in right? I'm going to ask you this in 4 hours.
Mhm.
But right now, who is it? Who not who you want, but who is the pick? Who's going to be the pick? Wait. Let's get this. I'm going to get this for the Instagram. Post on the story.
Before I say the pick, it's tough because Jimmy is still on the team, and I think that if Jimmy's off the team or on the team, it completely sways the pick. But if
Okay, hold on. Lock it in right now. Who are the 49ers picking?
49ers are taking Trey Lance, the 3rd overall pick, right now.
Okay.
You're asking me 4 hours, it might change. But right now it's Trey Lance.
Why?
I think that I really do believe that Mac Jones probably was the leader when they made this trade. Mac Jones just fits everything that Kyle's ever used before, ever wanted before. And I don't think people fully understood how Trey Lance, what Trey Lance did at North Dakota State. He called offensive line protections. He ran an NFL style of offense under center. And the reports have been that they've been just blown away by his smartness in terms of the offense and how to read defensive stuff. And I guess he's just blown people away. And I think that's one of the things that intrigued the Niners about Mac Jones was his ability to read the defense because he actually is really good at it. And just to add that physical upside that Trey Lance can bring if the mental is there,
Yep.
I think that it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. I really think what happened for the 49ers is that they went in thinking Mac Jones is the superior game manager, I guess, or like mind in the draft besides maybe Lawrence and Wilson. And then they just got blown away with Trey Lance of how, because that's what I've heard is that Trey Lance is just a genius at quarterback. And I think they were like, wait, this guy's really, really smart. And so I really think that's what happened is that they were blown away by how smart he was. And that's what made the decision so much tougher because he's more physically gifted.
If
than
he
Mac
is
Jones.
that smart, I mean, he's 6'4",
Exactly.
230, probably runs in the 4.445s. Like, he's just a freaking stud. Like,
No, you'd have to take him right now.
man.
Yeah.
Blows me away.
Eli, who would you put money on?
Could I put money
Or
on?
who do you think it's going to be? Who do you think? Not if you have to put money. Ignore the odds. Who are you picking?
You know, for a while, I thought they were. I still kind of think like they're still sticking with Fields, like despite all of the pandemonium. They're like, okay, it was always Fields, but the more that I hear, like the more I hear Brandon talk about it, the more I see on like TV and stuff, like it is looking a lot like Trey Lance, and I don't know, like that's like now. I've sort of thought about it less because like, oh, I'll find out in a few hours, but no, like through like yesterday and even part of it today, I still thought they were. I still kind of think they're probably just going to take Justin Fields, but now I don't know.
The hard part about Trey is if they do trade Jimmy, I mean, man, like it's going to go against every report for them to start in week 1, you know, because he hasn't played all year.
Yeah.
You know, he's only got 17 games, but Mac Jones only has 17 games under his belt. So
Yeah.
And he's
if he is, and if Trey Lance is that mental guy that they see that he's on the same mental capacity in terms of reading defensive stuff as Mac Jones, then he should be able to start week 1 because Mac Jones is the most pro ready guy in the quarterback of the draft. So it really does just a lot of these reports just contradict each other, and it's just.
Cole was saying that he thinks it's gonna be Fields, and I told him, I was like, dude, like, go bet that if you really think it's Fields. I was like, you can get good odds, and
very good odds.
Mercer, the one that Mercer uses is MyBookie. It's like that offshore one. Cole said it's plus 250 for Fields on MyBookie.
Really?
That's
see,
why
they're all
those
different.
offshore.
Yeah.
No, but those offshore ones are horrible because they know like plus 250 for Fields is absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely garbage odds.
Because was it FanDuel you're looking at?
Plus
like
850.
850.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, that's why you don't use those offshore betting sites, boys, because that is garbage odds. Like garbage.
I can't use any other ones in Washington because
No, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why like those offshore sites. Matthew, what's up, man? How's
What's
it
up?
going?
I'm pretty good.
Honestly, you can kind of leave it halfway open. It's not horrible.
Actually adds good light to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, obviously.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
We're also
You've heard about it, right?
We're-
Brendan
we're-
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Have you heard about it?
Is it done?
No.
Okay.
He said he's done with the Packers.
Really?
Yes. Like he said, I'm frustrated. I'm done with this. Adam Schefter.
Did you see this Shefty tweet?
I was it the one you put in the group chat. I kind of half read it. I
No,
know
this
that.
is the one.
No,
This is
it
the one
happened.
that he said.
happened like
You see this one?
10 minutes ago, probably.
Wow.
7
Yeah.
minutes ago. Yeah. Fake news.
Love.
Jordan.
Um,
We were talking about like what the Packers turned down because Shepard reported that the Rams tried trading for him in January.
Mm.
And then
Wow.
obviously the Niners tried it last night. So
I wonder if because those could have been like really good trades, and then what if like right now? Oh my gosh, I saw a tweet that says his future is in jeopardy. But what if like there were the Niners were like, oh, Jimmy G and our like third pick. I don't know if there was something else with that too, and then they're like, oh no, but like what if right now they're like, wait a second. Like, or what if they have some new information that we don't know, and they're like, we really want those offers back, and we'll take them. And so now they're trying to get people to make offers
it
again.
just doesn't make sense to draft a QB at 3 and then have Jordan Love and then have Jimmy. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know why they would take that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe they take the third pick and then trade back. I have no idea. But it just doesn't make any sense to do that trade.
I know you guys are big non-Aaron Rodgers people, but good for him. I mean,
Well, I mean,
I if I'm him, I'm pissed, and I'm tired of like all these years they don't draft a wide receiver in the first round. They don't do this. Like
they didn't
get
tell
it.
him they were drafting a quarterback.
Right.
no,
get it.
I
get
get it too.
Mhm.
This is the Hawk blogger. You know him on Twitter,
Yeah.
Brian. I don't even know how to say his last name. That's why I don't. But he goes, unpopular opinion. Rodgers arguably the best quarterback in football last year. You had the home field advantage. You still didn't even make it to a Super Bowl. You're not going to get. Not sure you're going to get better than you were last year. Trading him now and getting a QB on a rookie deal makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not. It is not the most. It is not the craziest thing in the entire world.
Mm.
It isn't.
But
Like it's not. I don't know. It's just it is crazy today that we've had 2 huge non NFL draft news from Schefter, and like we're still 4 hours away from the draft.
full
Like,
Shefty bomb. And then a generational talent, Trevor Lawrence, will be going number 1 tonight.
yeah.
Big news.
Theo said yes, sir, Matthew. I think he agrees with you, and yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys because I don't know how I'd answer it. Mainly because I don't know these players well enough. But right now, like, if you're a GM or a coach right now, would you rather have Taysom Hill or Tim Tebow?
Taysom Hill.
Yes.
Too, yeah. The one that's playing football. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. But I thought
I saw that tweet
I think I
too.
saw a tweet or something, and they're like dot like Taysom Hill, and I was like,
That's what Tim Tebow.
But
That'd be
but
so
wait, hold on. What if Tim Tebow's on a minimum contract? And you have to pay Taysom Hill.
Taysom's making 10 to 20 a year or something like
What
that.
team is it? Jacksonville. Ooh.
Well,
See,
he's marketing himself
honestly,
as
yeah.
a Taysom Hill weapon, is what he's saying.
That's what he should
I
have
can
been
do
doing.
a bunch of different stuff in them. is what
No,
he said.
I that's definitely what we should have done. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you're a team, you're building a team, do you take Taysom Hill and his $60 million a year salary, or do you take Tim Tebow on a
Tebow.
1 year deal? That's I think you
Yeah.
take Tebow no matter what.
Yeah.
That becomes a whole different conversation when you talk salary.
That's true.
That is very that's
It's a fun
so
one.
funny that I wouldn't even ever have thought that I would have the conversation.
Also, with all the Saints talk, and we're certainly not going to take a QB because they have Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, but like they're not super committed to either of those guys. James is only on a
No.
1 year deal, right?
But-
And they can cut Taysom whenever.
But that's what's so weird about them. The rumor, did you hear this? That they're going to trade. They're trying to trade into the top 10, the Saints,
Right.
but not to take a quarterback. So it's like,
Who? Yeah.
Which we kind of talked about it. Like it makes a lot of sense. Like the cornerback talk, like a lot of
Right.
corners are kind of like
Right.
rising.
Right.
But still, yeah, like they come in like, oh no, we're not here to take your quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And then they like,
Right.
that's a good point.
and then-
Okay. Number 4 overall pick, prop bet. Kyle Pitts is the favorite at -210. Lance plus 340. Fields plus 430. What do you guys like for the number 4 pick? Do you think it's going to be Pitts?
I think it's Pitts, but if it's
So
not
here's-
Pitts, I mean, how is it not Fields? Hometown guy. It's
Yeah.
not- it's
But
just
here's
not
an interesting Pitts' draft position over under 4.5.
under.
You think he's
I
4?
take the under. Yeah, I think he's 4.
The only problem is if the Falcons don't pick him, it's not going to
No.
be Pitts because some team will trade up and take a quarterback.
that's the only thing I'm thinking is I think it's very likely someone trades in there. If they trade in there, they're not going to take this.
Yeah, I'd probably go over.
You go over?
Yeah, barely. I don't know. I agree with you. I just think that the odds are that they
Trade out.
trade out or they take a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. You guys, you have
There's only one team. You're banking on one team taking them.
yeah. All right. Justin Fields draft position over under 7.5.
Hope under. I hope under.
That is such a
I
tough
hope
one
under
because
too.
it's like he's
Who do you believe? Like,
No,
yeah.
I take over.
you
I
take
hate to
over.
say it, yeah.
The problem is it's 8 is the one where I think he's, if I had to pick one spot in the draft that I think he's most likely to go, it's 8 because I think that's a chance the Panthers take him, and that's also where I think a team trades up and grabs him if there's a trade up to grab him.
The Lions are at 7, and they could trade out too.
Yeah, and then there's also the possibility of him going 3 and 4. Like I still
Right.
think that's 100%. Just because
So
no one's
tough.
talking about it, this is a PSA to everyone. Just because no one's talking about it does not mean it's not going to happen. We've seen no one had right now. If you've talked, and this is so much less than a quarterback, but no one had CeeDee Lamb going to the Cowboys last year.
Yeah.
No one. No one had Henry Ruggs going to the Raiders last year. Literally no one. I mean, no one had Andrew Thomas going 4 to the Giants last year.
Okay.
Like all of these things, no one had mocked at all. So that's why it's like you can't just say this is not going to happen. So that's why I don't know. I think if I'm 7.5, I think I take the. I think I take the under, but it's really really close.
That's a tough bet.
If I had to bet money on it though, I would probably take the over, just because I feel safer with my money doing that. But I want it to be the under, and that's what I would do if I'm a GM.
He deserves to go under. Sad. It
Exactly.
really is sad.
So that, but I think if I'm like, if someone was like, you have to put $100 of your own money, I'd be like, I probably have to take that. The only lock is Lawrence. Yes, that is 100% true. Anyone who tells me that Zach Wilson is a lock is wrong, because that is not a lock.
hurt anything
That is
in a
not a
while.
lock at all.
in a while.
I think it's
Um,
very likely.
I mean,
Exactly.
up until January, Fields was 2. I mean, 2. And there's at one point where Shefty tweeted that picture of him in a Jag uniform
yeah,
after they beat Clemson. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now he's not even top 5. Like, it's just sad, man. He deserves to be at least top 3. Deserves it.
He's done nothing to.
No,
warrant-
not done
yeah.
PFT goes, could see Aaron Rodgers sign 17 one-week contracts this year for whoever's playing the Packers.
Classic. That'd be
Um,
awesome.
No, you guys are 100. I mean, he has done nothing to make him fall in this draft. And it's, if anything, it's these other quarterbacks have done stuff to make them fall, and they're not falling. Fields is the one that's falling. Mac Jones, I didn't know he had a DUI. He has a DUI,
Two.
and he,
He does too.
and he rises.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened in the history of anything? You have a DUI, and no, that means he's good character. He has good character. He has
Yeah.
DUI.
And then everyone talks about him being NFL ready, and he only had 17 games. There was also, I think it was after one of his pro days or something. He was like, "Yeah, he's like, I know there's like a lot of things. He's like, you know, as an Alabama, I just have to do a lot of things. He's like, so I'm working on a lot of those. Like, I want to get better, whatever." And so he's admitting that there's a lot of things he needs to work on, and he's actively getting better. But that makes him the most NFL ready quarterback. Is that he has a lot of things to work on, and he's actively trying to work on them. That makes him NFL ready.
You see what Rappaport just said?
Yeah, well, I was listening to what Schefter was saying too. So reportedly, Aaron Rodgers let the Packers know at the beginning of the offseason that he was unhappy and that he didn't want to return to the team. And so the Packers' response to that was, okay, we're going to try to get him to a long-term contract. Part of those talks have been way south, not good at all, and no deal is done. And now that's why he is not happy, is because the Packers are not in the same ballpark as him, pretty much.
Yeah.
So a whole lot of drama.
Yeah.
But Chevy just said the Packers have known for a while, but it just hasn't been reported. That's crazy.
Interesting. Okay. Couple more player bets or prop bets. Jamar Chase over under 5.5.
Under. I think he's 5. I know I had Penei Sewell at my 5, but the more I've listened to people talking about it, I think he's a lock at 5.
Something interesting that Daniel Jeremiah said on that interview. We said something earlier about this. He was saying that there's a lot of medical issues at the back end of the first round. It's a lot like what I've been hearing about this draft is that there's an elite group of like 15 players, that it's like a consensus elite group, and the back end, which is the back end of the first round to like the second round, is kind of unclear. And apparently, because there was no combine this year and stuff, and those players are a little more shuffled, that the medicals on these players are more unclear.
Mhm.
And apparently it's with a lot of D linemen. If you guys have looked at mock drafts this offseason, these D linemen have been going back into the first round. Well, because of their medicals, they're sliding out of the first round, and a lot of guys that are sliding in or projected to slide in are the tackles that were supposed to go at the beginning of the second round. And that was kind of what the Bengals were banking on, is a lot of tackles being there in the second round so that they could take Chase in the first round.
Yeah.
And with all these developments happening lately, Daniel Jeremiah was kind of saying he thinks that the Bengals might be scared that those tackles that they thought were going to be there in the second round are going to be taken in the first round.
That's a good point, but I also feel like a lot of teams are still just so desperate for like D-line help that they might just go with those guys.
True, but I think O-line is probably in the same cap. I think both
Yeah.
defense and offensive line are positions that teams are in the back of the first round. Like the good teams are being like, listen, we can have multiple O and D linemen. So that's, I don't know. He didn't say that explicitly, but those are like, he was saying, oh, the D linemen have been the ones that are kind of falling out of the first round. So he was kind of insinuating that.
Mhm.
He didn't say like, oh, it's going to be Sewell now,
Right.
but he's kind of saying like, watch out for that, because that's kind of what they've been weighing their options. It's like, do we take the wide receiver first, or do we take the tackle first? Because whichever one we don't take, we're going to take in the second round. So I don't know. I think I'd still go Chase. But what he said earlier today made me be like, man, is it going to be Sewell? Because I've been all in on Chase all offseason. Now I'm getting a little bit cold feet.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think that we talked about their tackle situation and the moves that they have made. I could definitely see them going Chase and then going like interior offensive line in that second round, because there's a lot
Right.
of guys that went to smaller schools that are in that second round for interior offensive line.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a guy, and I don't know if you heard this too, Jack, we were watching Colin earlier, but he was like, the guy was like, well, you know, Chase can juke 4 or 5 guys out, and Penei Sewell can only block 1 guy. So when you look at valuable and what they need, I was like, well, I don't know if that's really how it goes, but it's just interesting. Yeah, I mean that's Joe Burrow's boy, but I mean at some point, yeah, if Joe Burrow does get hurt, they look like
Right.
dumbos for not taking any tackles. So
Agreed.
yeah, that's a tough choice too. And there's so many tough choices at the top of this draft. It's just unreal.
I think
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
Mine's a little unrelated.
Go.
Let's see. I mean, when you mention those injuries, that kind of brings me back to yesterday's press conference with John Snyder and Pete Carroll, and they were talking about how they felt that this year, with everything going on, that this was the year to trade Pitts,
Yeah.
because there's a little uncertainty.
Yeah.
It makes sense why they went out and got so many D linemen.
Yeah.
If that's really the shaky
Yeah.
position.
And I think both of our teams, the Seahawks and the Niners, are in good spots, because this draft, it seems like you either don't want to have that pick at the back, like you don't want to have that pick in the back of the first round, and you guys are at the top getting quarterback, and we're not in the first. Like, it seems like our teams were the ones that kind of got the memo. And there's teams like the Dolphins where it looks great that you have these picks where you have them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll turn out.
Right.
And I don't know. Everyone is saying how great of a future the Dolphins have with all these picks and stuff, and I just think I'd rather be on the side that our teams are on right now than be on their side.
I think because I've fallen victim to this. Like, oh, the Dolphins have such a bright future. I think they have such a bright possible future.
Yes, and
Like, I think they have one of the. I'm not going to say the highest ceiling, but they have like one of the highest ceilings. But like, there's a lot of like, they're going to have they have several picks. They already have some young guys. Like, that means all those young guys, almost all those young guys, have to hit.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah. For sure. Okay. So, Eli, are you going over under 5.5 for Chase?
I'm going to go under.
Yeah.
So I think.
I think that's what if I had to bet money on that, I'd go under. Waddle, 10.5. Smith is also 11.5. We can talk about these guys in the same little bit.
What is Waddle?
Waddle is 10th overall, 10.5. Under. Devonta Smith is 11th. And
Where are the Giants at?
Giants are 11. Eagles are 12.
I'd go.
I think I'm going under for Waddle.
Under.
I can go under on both.
I am tempted to do under on both because I think one of them for sure goes under.
I think Waddle goes below 10, and I think Smith goes 11. So that's why I go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Who's picking 11?
Giants.
Okay.
Do you hear?
Who's picking 10?
I don't know. We talked about this earlier. The
10 is
rumor
Cowboys.
is that the
You
Giants
think
are.
the Cowboys are going to go wide receiver?
No, I think someone
Some
7, 8, or 9
Oh.
will go Waddle.
Yeah.
I can see the Lions going Waddle. Probably.
I can see the Dolphins going Waddle as well.
Or Dolphins.
If it
If
goes
Chase is on.
Pitts Chase, yeah.
I honestly think this isn't like a hot take. It's been out there before, but I think if the Bengals take Penei Sewell, I think there's a chance that Chase is the first wide receiver off the board.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because
I have
of-
some too, though.
Because of just like
I don't know.
connection
Yeah,
of the
maybe.
Dolphins, or-
I don't know. I think they just. I mean, there's who was the first wide receiver? Like, wasn't Henry Ruggs the
Yeah,
first wide receiver
Yeah.
last year?
First.
I think there's some teams that are like, ooh, I like this
Yeah.
guy. He's
Yeah.
got this little character trait.
Who knows
Like,
everybody's forward?
yeah.
They also, it goes kind of to the same thing that we were talking about earlier. Is maybe the Dolphins hadn't been paying as much attention to Chase because they didn't think they were going to get the chance to pick him, so they've been really. I think there is something to that where teams lock in on their guy. They have that pick locked in before the draft starts,
Yeah.
and if that guy's there, they take him no matter what. It doesn't matter if someone slips,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is entirely
What the
possible.
Seahawks do every year.
1,000,000%
yeah.
what the Seahawks do every year, and that's why we trade back so often. Is because when we shoot for the stars, that guy gets taken.
Like,
We
I bet
know
they
it's
didn't
like
even scout Patrick Queen. They're
No,
like, oh, he's not
no.
going to be there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Penei Sewell, 5.5.
Under. I think he's 5.
I'd go over.
I
think
go
he's-
over. Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you're betting on Chase. you bet
Yeah,
on
Yeah,
Chase.
exactly.
Opposite of
It's
it. I go higher.
Man, how funny would that be if they go 4 and 5.
They both-
We're like,
yeah.
Well,
okay, here's an interesting one. Total quarterbacks in the first round. Over under is 5.5. The under is minus 650. So you have to bet $650 to win 100. The over is plus 430.
I'd smash over.
I think I did the over too.
Who is the 6?
So it's 5.5.
I think the 6 could be any of them.
I think it could be either 3. Mond, Mills, or Trask. And I think if one team likes one of them, they take them at the top.
I
Because
think,
I remember last year this prop was 3.5 because everyone was like Jordan Love was kind of that borderline guy. I guess Jordan Love's more of a borderline guy than I think any of the quarterbacks are this year. But
I'm just trying to think of what team is not super desperate enough to trade up,
yeah,
but desperate enough to take him at the back end of the first.
I can see Tampa Bay taking one.
I
I
said
can say
maybe.
screw it because
well apparently they're taking Fields according to
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But what do they need? I don't think Tampa Bay is really eyeing anything at the bottom of the first round right now. They literally
Right.
signed 25 of the top snap counts they had last year. So
Hmm.
the Tampa Bay their situation's unreal. They are literally
Yeah.
drafting for depth. They literally don't need any of these rookies to do anything this year. It's unreal the situation they're in, and I could definitely see them.
listen
If
to
they like a
this.
guy, take one at 32.
this just gets me. This is totally unrelated, so we can get back to it. If the Broncos take quarterback tonight, there's a strong perception that Drew Lock will be on the trading block starting Friday. One potential destination is Minnesota, a team that could use an affordable backup with upside. Upside?
Minnesota.
What upside?
Well, it can't go down.
You can't get worse than how Drew Lock performed. So back to, I've heard a lot, and this goes totally out the window if the Saints trade up, but I've heard the Saints linked with Kyle Trask because that's apparently a very popular pairing. I don't know if they take him back into the first though. But like, okay, like this is a hypothetical for if you're thinking a 6 quarterback gets taken. What if Chicago or the football team trades back to like 26? I don't know who's picking there, but a team moves. Maybe a team that wants one of those running backs or wide receiver trades up and grabs, let's say like ETN goes and the team really likes Najee, they trade up and the team trades back and then they go. And the Bears are like,
Yeah.
sure, we'll take Davis Mills. Like,
Or I could see the other way around. I could see if Mac Jones starts to slip, that, man, some of these teams are like, okay, he keeps coming back. Like, I think that hurts the chances of one of those guys reaching the back end first, because then it seems like, well, we can get Mac Jones in the team
definitely.
if he is dropping. You know?
Man, that'd be crazy. I don't hope. That sounds bad. There's always going to be one guy that slips, and it's going to be interesting to me to see who that guy is.
Mac Jones will be the farthest one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
For sure,
I don't think it's a
but
conversation
it'd just be like,
in terms of like.
But if Mac Jones goes 3, yeah, as far as further.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Fields will go way higher. And it won't fall as far as Mac.
but
Jones would.
what if it goes Jones Fields?
If Fields will
Somebody trades up for Lance, then it's someone like Pitts, Chase, or Sewell falls farther than we think, and that's
true.
crazy
Yeah,
also
right.
because
Yeah.
those guys are considered way more higher on teams' big boards.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where it gets interesting to me, is that no matter what, somebody's going to fall, because like I was saying kind of earlier with this draft, there seems like there's an elite chunk of players, and there's just not going to be enough picks for them to go in there.
Right.
So like someone's going to fall that we don't expect. And yeah, I totally agree. I think Mac Jones has the farthest range of outcomes.
floor,
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Michael Parsons is an interesting one.
I think
he has
he's
been all over the place.
yeah. Every once in a while, I see him pop back in at like 7 in a mock draft. I'm like, hey, whoa, he's back up there. Like,
I saw him
How you
14
doing, buddy?
the Raiders yesterday, or 17.
17.
the Raiders
I saw that one
yesterday.
too. Yeah.
So she's an interesting one.
Okay. Running backs in the first round. I heard a hot take today. Somebody, I think it's Andy on the Fantasy Footballers, thinks 3 running backs go in the first round.
Who's his third?
Apparently, it's consensus. It's Etienne, Harrison, Williams from
Yeah.
Carolina,
Mhm.
and he thinks the order is Etienne, Williams, Harris.
Ooh.
And hot take, I really like Williams out of
Interesting.
like really like Williams.
Najee has a lot of carries under his belt already. That's the thing that scares me. about
I think
Najee.
there's going to be a lot of people that are scared to take him in the first round,
got a lot of carries under his belt.
and he's 23.
Yeah. He's a little
Sheesh, man, 23
He's
as a
interesting.
rookie is tough.
at a running back. He's
Yeah.
interesting. A lot of carries under the belt, but he is a physical specimen. The dude is just, his workout routines are unreal.
So over under 1.5. What would you do? I think I'd take the over.
Over.
Yeah.
I feel like if one of them goes, at least
I think it's either 2 or 0.
it's hard. It's
Right.
hard to say if one goes, at least 2 go. But it's like, yeah, it's
I think a harder over under would be 1
yeah.
because they don't let you like
Right.
0 or 2. What's more likely?
Yeah.
Steelers are definitely taking one.
They have to.
I really hope so.
They don't need
Yeah.
a lot besides quarterback, which they've already set their quarterback
Yeah.
room with the extension of Mason
Yeah.
Rudolph today. So, like, if Steelers have to be taking a running back. Bills, we've had this conversation before. Do they necessarily need one? Probably not. But
They're probably
they
considering it.
will.
They're probably they're probably considering the best available at the time. But
What other teams do you guys think at running back with?
Jets.
Yeah.
Man, I heard Andy. The other team that he gave was the football team, which I thought was interesting.
I feel like that'd have to be Najee. He's the
He had
difference.
ETN,
Yeah.
which was weird, but because he said forgot about this. Gibson was hurt at the end of last year, and they don't have J.D. McKissick anymore. That was his
Right.
reasoning for
did
it.
not know that. That makes a little more sense.
Matt Jets with Zach Wilson and then ETN were Najee, what a boost
The
of
fantasy,
athleticism.
I would be so hyped.
Oh, that offense would just be completely
Yeah.
different.
Fantasy
than
football
what-
would be amazing.
with Joe Flacco and Frank Gore. Zach
And
Wilson,
Corey
and
Davis is on that team
Yeah.
too. I mean, man, their potential, their offense gets.
Now, was it Chris Herndon's name thrown? Like
Chris
now
Herndon,
he's
yeah.
like relevant.
They always say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was relevant last year. I took him in the draft. I'll
So really quick, Najee Harris had 36 more carries than Derrick Henry at Bama.
Oh,
Only 36.
But he's also older, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
have a year.
right.
Derrick played 3 years. He left after his junior year.
How what's the size comparison between Derrick Henry and Najee Harris? Derrick Henry's gonna be
Derrick
taller,
Henry's 6'3", 242, and Najee is 6'2", 230. So
right? Okay.
12 pound according to this thing, and 1 inch greater height.
Jay Blazers
What
says
reason is to-
Aaron told Packers he doesn't
Yeah.
want to return. I think it's more than a contract deal. I think he's pretty strongly convicted that he doesn't want to go back to the Packers.
Also, another team that we forgot at running back, the Bills, and they apparently have told teams that they're going to take a running back.
Yeah, just to say we don't know if they're going to
That
take
popped
another
up
one.
yesterday. That was
but-
like, oh yeah, by the way,
I think they should trade back.
Yeah.
I don't think they should take it at, what was it, 29, 30?
yeah. I just heard that there is like those three are by far the top three.
Right.
And the Falcons, I guess they're another team that needs running back. What are they going to do at running back, man? That it shocked me that
Better
everyone's
draft.
like,
With Arthur.
What happened with Gurley again? I forget what happened.
Nobody-
No one
nobody
signed him.
Signed him yet?
He's a free agent.
that's
Still.
isn't that like I just think that's crazy that I'm not 100% bought in with Arthur Smith just without the running back. I don't know. I think we kind of are. Everyone's like, oh, Arthur Smith, the offensive genius. Like, well, yeah, but he also had Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
does help the play action game a little bit when you have Derrick Henry in the back.
I mean, if they
And
take
two
Kyle
monster
Pitts,
wide
yeah,
receivers.
if they take Kyle Pitts, like it's just not the offense you win at all. So it'll be really interesting.
That's why I 100% agree with that. And it's like everyone's just like, oh yeah, he just wants that he'd get a great weapon in Kyle Pitts. Like we have not seen him run any sort of offense like this at all. Like it was complete 180.
If they take Kyle Pitts, they might have like an all-time high in just 5 wides. Like,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
like-
it's gonna be unbelievable.
it's going to be like
They might not
all
run
of
the
our-
ball once.
No running backs. Yeah,
Right.
no running backs. An occasional draw with Matt Ryan.
They just have somebody else run out there at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like,
Over their backup. They signed
I guess they have
Mike.
Mike Davis. I keep forgetting they signed.
That's right. They
But still, like,
But you don't want him to be your workhorse.
Oh, they better than
Yeah.
freaking McCaffrey. Didn't they?
Yeah, you want like a duo trio
Yeah.
where you just don't lead him at.
I don't love bell cows anymore.
okay, this was kind of one that I discussed. We have like 2 minutes. This is just a prop that I threw out there. How many trades in the top 10 picks?
2.
Is there an over under?
No, I just
Okay.
kind of set one. Like, where I just was kind of like, what do we think?
Hot take 0.
0.
I like it.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
certainly possible if Atlanta takes Pitts and if Fields doesn't fall. Like how quick
I'm
are teams
so
going to be to
excited.
trade up
Oh
in the
my
top
gosh,
10?
the more we talk about all these possibilities.
If I had to
it's-
put money, 1. And I think it's because I think Trey Lance goes 3, and I think someone trades to get Justin.
Yeah, that would make sense. There's definitely a lot of other situations that could happen. A lot of other trades possibilities that could happen.
Who do you have trade now? If you said 2.
I think
who do
I think
you
the
like
Lions
trading?
could definitely trade
I
out.
like the Lions number 1.
That's-
I think they're number 1.
Yeah, and for some reason I really like the Chargers trading up. That's why I think if Sewell falls,
Mm.
because I don't know what the Chargers have to lose. Like, what do they have to lose in draft capital? I mean, I think the Chargers really are on the cusp of competing.
To win now. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like they trade up 6 spots to grab Sewell, who could be a franchise left tackle. So you get your left tackle and you give up. They could pay up for that. They could give a third and a future second, which is probably way more than they need to. And that doesn't do anything for the franchise. Now they have they would go from one of the worst offensive lines to a top tier offensive line with Corey Lindsey and Sewell, and now they get their defense healthy. Like,
And I think it was Rappaport tweeted today that 2022 picks are gold right now.
Mm.
or what if, man, I don't sleep on the Chargers not taking a wide receiver. We have 16 seconds, man. That was a really quick live show.
Mike
Yeah.
Evans injury prone.
See you guys later tonight. We'll be back in
What time we start now? Like 5:30.
3.5 hours. Kyle, have a great episode. I don't think you can hear us. Maybe you can. Have a great episode, buddy. Draft day. Let's get it. I didn't even realize we were done. That was quick.
Yeah. Wow. A lot to talk about.
Great show.
A lot to talk
YouTube, thanks for hanging out. Again, we will be live in 3.5 hours. I have a Zoom meeting to get to
about. YouTubers.
for a class, so I apologize. Oh my gosh, guys. This is
Today's the day.
what the day.